Hey friends, so today's video is going to be an anti-haul, and I might be a little bit over-caffeinated because I'm finishing a venti coffee.
Can you hear me? Are you in the right direction?
Anyways, hi. It's been a while since I've done an anti-haul, and with the Sephora Vib sale coming up this weekend, I figured now's the time, friends, to roast some products that are, things that I don't need. And if you've never seen one of my anti-hauls before, I highly suggest checking them out. I highly suggest going to check out Kimberly Clark's channel, because Kimberly Clark was the person that made anti-hauls popular in the first place. And if you need to know what an anti-haul is, here's a portion of a video that I'm just gonna cut out of an old one so I don't have to repeat myself. Cool? Cool. If you really want these, if you are hell-bent on buying these, or if you have already bought them, you do you. I don't dislike you. I'm not clowning on you for buying those things. These are just reasons why I'm not going to buy them. But if you need some encouragement to not buy it, keep watching. I'm not gonna just talk about Sephora things because there's a lot of stuff that's come out recently, but I wanted to kind of save the Sephora portion for the end. But for right now, these are a bunch of things that I have seen on Trend Mood lately. So the first thing we're gonna talk about is this Jeffree Star Magic Star Concealer. You all know at this point that I don't support Jeffree Star. I don't purchase any of his products, but this kind of speaks to a larger issue, and I feel like it speaks to something that is across the board relevant. This concealer is exorbitantly priced for what you're getting. I'll post a picture right here that shows kind of like a comparison of prices with other concealers that have similar shade ranges. I'll give it to him. He's got a decent shade range. That's cool. I don't know how the formula is. I don't know how full coverage it is. I don't know how drying it is. However, I have seen so many people defend the price of this concealer being like, oh, you're paying for the packaging, whatever, you're paying for luxury, you're paying for cute packaging. I'm all for cute packaging if it's functional, but not for a concealer. Like, I will pay for something that's maybe a little bit more expensive when I know that some of the money went to the packaging. If it's like a lipstick or an eyeshadow palette or a perfume, something that I'm going to have on display or something that I'm going to get to open up and look at and be like, this is nice, this is aesthetically pleasing, I'm inspired by this. It's a fucking concealer. The packaging is like some weird Sailor Moon butt plug. If it was something from a different brand that I actually supported, I still wouldn't buy it because I stopped buying NARS concealers because of how quickly I used it up and how much money I had to spend on it. I was in a thread on a Facebook group. People were like, oh, it's like super full coverage, so like you don't have to use that much. So is half the concealers that are out on the market right now. There's no way that J Star could come out with a concealer that is like such a revolutionarily full coverage concealer that it would justify spending that much on that amount of product. Tarte Shape Tape was real fucking full coverage. The Cover FX concealer that I have, really full coverage. People are not buying watery ass light coverage concealers anymore because of YouTube, because of Instagram makeup. So don't try and throw that argument at me and be like,
oh well, it's got really fancy packaging and the coverage is phenomenal.
I don't want to spend like money on fancy packaging on a concealer. Concealers and brow products, I don't want fancy packaging because those are the things that I'm going to use up as quickly as possible. If it's something that I get to have in my collection for years on end, sure. But if it's something that I'm going to use up within 4 or 5 months, no, absolutely not. Regardless of it being Jeffree Star, the concept in and of itself, a fancy concealer with over-the-top packaging that's really expensive, ain't gonna buy it. Don't need it, not gonna buy it, absolutely not. Next thing we're gonna talk about is this skincare coming from Huda Beauty. I haven't talked about Huda Beauty in quite a while because I've kind of ignored her. I'm like, I don't give a fuck about her. But she teased a skincare line and she posted on Instagram, new skincare line coming, the products have changed my life. You know what's changed your life? Face work, Huda. Lip fillers, face work. Okay. I don't trust people who come out with like skincare products, things that's gonna make your skin look beautiful, things that you use in conjunction with makeup when they have done so much to their actual face. I don't care that they do it to their face. Do what you want. I don't fucking care. But if you're gonna try and peddle skincare, to me, I don't trust that that's what you use. I wouldn't buy skincare from Huda Beauty in a million years. Like,
what?
Excuse you? I just like saved all this shit from Trend Mood. This set of pigments, loose pigments from ColourPop. Shade ranges from neon brights to foiled metallics. The shades that they're releasing right now are these like really boring, like neutrals that you could easily get as like a decent shade in just a regular pressed eyeshadow. You know, if I'm gonna buy like a pigment, I need it to be like extraordinary, like something that it wouldn't work in a pressed pigment or a pressed eyeshadow. I feel like loose pigments are so pain in the ass that like releasing them in like warm tone neutrals is just like, why do we need that in a loose pigment? There's a couple that are neon, which I could see a loose pigment making sense, but bland warm tone neutrals in a loose pigment? Why? Why would we need that? The only reason I could see needing that is if you want to mix it with your moisturizer to make like, I don't know, a body glow, which I will get to later. Yeah, these loose pigments from ColourPop, I'm like, what? No. The next thing we're going to talk about is this Dragon Beauty Dragon Egg powder corrector, all of this. I'm not a huge fan of Nikita Dragon. I don't really enjoy her general vibe. I think she's a lot for me, so I've never really been a fan of her content. And this Dragon Beauty line, there's a color corrector that's $25. That's like orange that you get in a dragon's egg. Talk about wasteful packaging, fool. What? That's such a waste. There's the Perfecting Potion, which is the color corrector that's orange. The Transformation Face Powder, which is like a glowy face powder. That's $35. That's like a two-toned, there's like two colors in it. There's the Transformation Kit, which comes with the face powder, the potion, and the
egg.
And that's $55. And then the Iced Out Dragon Egg Transformation Kit comes with the face powder, the potion, the limited edition crystal coated collectible dragon egg that has nearly 1,000 hand-applied Aurora Borealis crystals for $105. Are you kidding? What? And it's not even that cute with like a crystally egg.
Swarovski crystals.
The amount of just like excessive waste is astounding. I might have talked about that before, but it scrolled through my Trend Mood and I was like, oh, don't want that. Anyway, speaking of dragons, this is sold out now. The Urban Decay fucking Game of Thrones palette thing collection. And I talked about the collection in my last anti-haul because they hadn't actually showed what it was. And they've come out with it and now it is virtually sold out everywhere. But this Game of Thrones collection, we talked about this in a group chat. We got so angry about this. The fact that they didn't make the little like palettes individual like little quints of shades that are like different houses is so baffling. Yes, let's take these different factions, these different characters, these different houses, House Targaryen, House Stark, House Lannister, and then the whites, like the White Walkers. So let's take all of those and put them in one palette.
No! God, please, no!
How about we put individual small palettes out so people can be like, ooh, I want the Stark palette and I want the Targaryen palette, but fuck the Lannisters. That makes so much more sense. Why would they release this one palette that is clearly broken up into sections that like slides into a drawer of a pop-up book? The dumbest packaging. Oh my fucking god, it was so dumb. Like the only thing that I saw that was tempting were the brushes, Needle and Longclaw. I thought those were kind of cute, but I'm not a huge fan of Urban Decay brushes in general. So it was like $26 for a mediocre brush. The only eyeshadow brush I've ever liked from Urban Decay was the one that was in the electric palette. Every other brush I've had from Urban Decay, I hated them. They're like stiff and weird and don't pick up color very well. This whole Game of Thrones collection was maddening. Just break it up into sections. Winterfell. It was staring them in the face. Why?
Why am I persecuted?
It least make it so that people could break it up. But like, who's gonna carry that around? Who's gonna carry that around? Don't need it. Not gonna buy it. I'm glad that it sucked because it saved me money. So the next thing we're gonna talk about is this Moschino and Sephora collection. Moschino has come out with a couple of collections with Sephora before. I think they did like a Disney Minnie Mouse one once, but they have this office supply, school supply themed makeup collection that is the ugliest thing I have seen in a long time. What is that? It's like an eraser. Okay, they've got a laptop palette that is a huge waste of space, a bunch of brushes that look like pencils, eraser sponges. Oh, they're sponges to put things on? Highlighter cheek set that are actually highlighters. Liquid markers lip set. The only thing that makes sense is the markers. And then they have white nail polish that's supposed to be like whiteout. And then a sheet mask that is infused with honey that it looks like a bear. The Moschino logo. It's not even the beginning of school. Like, fucking why? A lot of people were saying that they were stealing the concept from the crayon case, which I definitely agree with. Crayon case actually did it better because it wasn't just like gaudy and disgusting. Why? This is so not a thing that anybody needs. And the eyeshadow palette is
$60
for a weird eyeshadow palette that looks like a MacBook Pro. I can't. Sephora, I cannot. So the next thing we're gonna talk about is this whole kind of resurgence of NARS putting orgasm on everything. The orgasm palette, the orgasm liquid blush, the orgasm bronzer. It's just like they're calling everything orgasm now, which I'm not a prude. Like I don't care that they call something that's sexual. Like I don't care. NARS is falling into that like benefit kind of habit where they put like better than sex. Oh, let's call everything else better than sex. Or like when Too Faced was like, oh, let's call everything peach this or chocolate this. They're banking on one idea and then just slapping the name on it. Like you can't have so many colors that are called orgasm because that takes away the cult status of the original shade. You know, they have this palette right now called the Endless Orgasm Palette. This is just like, this isn't even the half of it. It's a $50 palette, so like for NARS, it's not that bad, but it's a cream palette for eyes, cheeks, and lips in a buildable formula to complement all skin tones with a luminous shimmer finish. So there's like 2 lighter blush shades, 2 highlightery shades, and then some bronzer shades, and it's like, they're called Deep Orgasm, Orgasm Ecstasy, Double Orgasm, Orgasm Fever, Super Orgasm, and Orgasm. Why don't you just come up with new names for things? Because this is just a way to get people to buy something because they recognize the name. Real recognize real. Name, I need the orgasm thing in my shopping cart. No, you don't need that. NARS is doing this on purpose because if they would come out with something new, like NARS has come out with other things in the past, like the Exposed Cheek palette. They have all kinds of good stuff. Like NARS has good products, but it's so frustrating. Orgasm liquid highlighter. It's like, NARS, stop. Can I just like search NARS orgasm and see what else there is? On the NARS, I almost just said orgasm, NARS Sephora page, there's the Endless Orgasm palette I just talked about, Orgasm liquid highlighter, Orgasm oil infused lip tint, just the plain Orgasm blush, the Orgasm liquid blush, the Orgasm Afterglow lip balm, the Orgasm illuminating loose powder. They have all kinds of blush and bronzer duos, the Orgasm
Blush Jumbo.
I think there's an Orgasm multiple lipstick, lip gloss, and then the full lip vinyl. They have orgasm in literally everything, and they're just coming out with more. You don't need all of it. You don't. I don't need it. I'm not gonna buy it. And it's just it's so transparent. It's like, okay, well, our sales aren't doing very well. We keep coming out with these face palettes, but what if we just have like an orgasm face palette? Everybody loves orgasms. Come on, NARS, stop. The next thing we're gonna talk about is inevitably the Tarte palette. The Icy Bench palette. I mentioned the Jeffree Star Blue Blood palette thing. Objectively, it's a pretty palette. I wouldn't buy it. If I was gonna buy any of the blue-green palettes, it would be the Menagerie Cosmetics one. But this Tarte palette, this Icy Bench palette, this took an entire year for Tarte to come out with something that wasn't even exactly what they teased last year. it was less exciting. So last year, on April Fool's Day, Tarte made a boo-boo, and they released a blue and green palette called the Icy Betch palette, thinking that nobody would want it and everybody would get that it was a joke. And then everybody was like, wow, this is really cool, blue and green, I want that, I've needed this. And then Tarte was like, sorry y'all, it was a joke. And then it took them an entire year to actually release it, but it wasn't exactly what they teased last year. So they took the concept and then toned down the shades and added a giant highlight shade. Too late, Tarte. That other palette that you came out with, the one with the like different shaped pans, that looks gorgeous. Okay, that other palette, Tarte, looks bomb. Icy Betch though, too little, too late. Oof, it was tragic. Like looking at that, I'm like, oh no, what have they done?
I've made a huge mistake.
It was a sad day looking at that shit. I think they're turning it around though. With that other palette, I was like, okay, that looks pretty. So the last thing we're gonna talk about, this was kind of a short one because to be fair, a lot of the stuff that's come out recently, I kind of want. Those like duos from Cover Effects, I'm like, oh baby, give it to me now. The Sunstalker bronzers from Fenty, I bought one. I have it on my face right now. So there's been a lot of things that I've actually really liked, but one thing that I've noticed a lot of lately are these like shimmery body oil things. It all started with the Body Lava from Fenty, and it's like a $50-some. How much is this? 50 what? $59 for a shimmery body luminizer. Cora Organics came out with a Sun-Kissed Body Glow Oil that has it's $58. Patrick Ta came out of nowhere. Major Glow Body Oil color, $52. And Sol de Janeiro has one that's smaller, that's more of like a bronze. Glow Motions, and that one's $35. I'm all for shimmer and glow. I will have a shimmery setting spray. I will put glitter on my face. I'm all for shimmer and shine and glow and shit. But a $50-something bottle of oil infused with shimmer is not something that I need to spend my money on. Mainly because that's not worth that much money. If you want to have a shimmery, glowy body oil, buy yourself a bottle of vitamin E from Trader Joe's, pour some loose pigment in it that's shimmery, maybe some glitter, bam, you've got a glowy body oil. $58, $59 for something that you may or may not sweat off, will get on your clothes, will get all over your hands, sounds like not a good time. If these were sprays, like sprays that you spritzed and then they dried down, so much more practical. I have my like illuminating setting spray, and if I had like a shimmery one that I could spray on my body, give me like a shimmery body spray that smells like cucumber melon and take me back to 2002. I'm all about that because it dries. It's like you spritz and it dries. But these body oils, I've actually heard that the Body Lava stays kind of tacky. That sounds gross. If you are ever going outside, that's just gonna attract all the dust and the dirt. This sounds like the messiest, most high maintenance product I could ever imagine. Yeah, let's spend $60. It's like shimmery lube that you rub on your body. Pretty much, that's what that feels like. Sticky, gross. This Anastasia like dewy setting mist, it's spray. It's a spray. Don't give me something I have to spread on with my hands because then I have to go wash my hands because I'll have it all over. Get it all over your clothes. Like, this is a perfect example of me not like shitting on brands specifically. It's products because I like Fenty. The packaging is probably some of my favorite packaging I've seen come out of Sephora in years. It's sleek and it's sexy and it's like over the top when it needs to be, and it's like is safe, compact, not overdone, but I don't need this $60 bottle of shimmery oil. Absolutely not. Nobody. I don't need no shimmery body oils that are that much money. If like Eucerin came out with like a shimmery body lotion in the drugstore and it was like maybe like $12 for like a big old tub,
Give me some of that.
I can't imagine that there's that much skincare benefit to this too, you know? So it's like, unless there's like a decent skincare benefit to something like this, spending that amount of money is already ridiculous. Yeah, so friends, Godspeed during the Sephora VIB sale this weekend. I will probably re-up on like dry shampoo and setting powder. That'll probably be what I buy. I actually bought dry shampoo like a week ago, so I probably could have waited. But I was totally out of dry shampoo, so I don't need anything else. I hope that you don't just splurge all the money that you have. I know tax returns are coming back. You don't need everything. You don't need all these things that Sephora is peddling at you, all these sets of things. I've seen a couple of sets of things that make a little bit of sense, but I implore you, don't go overboard. You don't always need to have everything that's newest. If you want it, like I said before, I'm not gonna shame anybody for buying something that they want, but this was hyperbole. I was doing this to be over the top to counteract everything else that's over the top in the other direction. So I hope this was helpful in some way. Anyway, today's song of the day is my buddies Ravenna Woods have some new music coming out. I think I mentioned their last new one that they came out with, the last single, but there's a new single out called Black Car, and it's really good. It kind of uses some of the old kind of instrumentation techniques they used to do with the like percussive acoustic guitar. Loving it so much. Go check out Kimberly Clark's channel. Kimberly is great. Please come back soon. We miss you dearly. And thanks to my patrons for being awesome. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit the subscribe button. If you like this video, give it a like. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. I don't care. I'm sorry I did not put my hair up. I was having a good hair day and I didn't feel like putting it up, but you know. Thanks for watching, y'all, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!